I thought this would be the last Cricbuzz Chatter. I promise you. At one point on day 2, I thought maximum day 4, we will end this test match. Do you know, when I was a kid, we often used to hear sports writers talking about test cricket and the match being a seesaw kind of day. Today was a perfect seesaw day. It started Australia up, then suddenly India go up, then a little bit Australia up, India up again. But I think by the time that game ended, Australia up, that number at the bottom is looking a little too big, but we'll chat about all that. 333 to get. Dinesh Karthik joins me once again. After all the emotion and drama of yesterday, today was a proper, just a cricketing day. No emotion involved. Just an outstanding cricket day, outstanding test match day, where it just went up and down, as I was saying, up and down, up and down. And that is where we are at the moment. What did you make? Your early impressions, and then we'll go in point by point.
Perfect day of test cricket, which is why the purists love this. It's a bit of a slow buzz. It's a bit like an art movie, I've always felt. You need to get into it and feel the emotions, and that's what was happening. When India came to bowl, they came in with fire, and you could see how Australia could face the heat, and they crumbled a bit. But as always, Australia came back. Then India, like you just said, again came back with a couple of wickets, and that's what you like about test cricket. The fact that teams throw punches at each other and everything has tactical prowess behind it. It's not blind slogging. You need skills with the ball, what you want to do, the fields you set. For the batter, your ability to stay patient. You can't get through pressure by just playing airy-fairy shots consistently. You need to be able to hold, understand pressure. And as a viewer, I went through all the emotions. Yes, I would have loved to have finished on a high being an Indian fan, but the truth is, when I wear my expert's hat, I must say Australia, rightly said by you, on top at this moment as the day ended.
Let's look at little passages of play. I must confess, it doesn't happen too often to me, but I have no words to describe. I'm about to go and buy a thesaurus to find some more words to describe the magic of Jasprit Bumrah. After first wicket fell early. Today 4 for 56, but those last 20-25 runs, Bumrah needed an engine at the back to keep pushing him to reach the bowling crease. But DK, that first spell that he bowled, I thought he should have had Khwaja early. Yashasvi had a slightly off day. In fact, he moved out immediately from leg gully to proper gully, where he held some blinders in recent times. But I thought the way he bowled to Sam Constas was magnificent.
Listen.
He started with a fly slip. My first instinct when he started with a fly slip was, come on, why you a fly slip? But I want your point of view on this. I thought he wanted to bowl a certain length to Constas. And he thought he can bowl that length if he takes the scoop away. So he kept the fly slip there. He bowled a beautiful length. And the little young man, very promising young man, suddenly it looked like a 6th standard boy was up against a 12th standard boy. I thought he dismantled him beautifully.
First up, I just want to give Rohit Sharma the due credit. I think he's had his best day on tour as a skipper. I thought tactically he got things spot on. When you have a 5 slip for Sam Constas kind of game plan, which is to play the scoop and the reverse scoop, what happens is you always know, you never exactly know where you're going to hit it. All you want the bat to do is make sure it gets some connection on it, so it goes to wide open spaces. The moment you put a man there, the doubt comes and that shot almost stays out unless you feel that, no, even if it's there, I'm going to play. That would look a tad too silly. Now, after that, he had to come back to his other shots, which would mean his cover drives, defense, and all of that came into question. And that's where I think Bumrah put him in that corner where he said, hey, Sam, you really played well in the first innings, but let me tell you why I'm the best in the world. He came and threw some questions which Sam Constas didn't have answers for. And the ball that he got him out. And the send-off, you don't see Jasprit Bumrah giving send-offs. It means a lot to him. I think a lot was spoken about Sam, and it didn't sit well with Bumrah, especially the way he dismantled him in the first innings. For the second innings, Bumrah came back and said, here we go, I'll show you why I'm so good. And that is the beauty of Test cricket, Harsha. If it was a T20, it would have lasted 4 balls, 6 balls. Here you can have it for 6 overs. to hold your batting credentials for 6 overs against the best bowler in the world, you'll require skill, you'll require enormous mental resolve as well. And for a young batsman like Sam, it's a learning experience, but well done to Bumrah, well led by Rohit Sharma. And I really thought this was India's second best session after the Perth when they came to bowl in the first inning. In terms of just sheer attitude and fire that they showed, India wanted to win this test match. It was just very good to watch.
Purely because of this, I love the IPL. As you know, I absolutely adore. I love the IPL. But between these two, I think I need a detox to be able to get over the joy of people setting up batters, setting fields, examining them, interrogating them, and then getting a wicket. But the send-off was interesting because Sam Constance was fielding at deep square leg, deep mid wicket, and he was constantly doing that to the crowd. I think when Kohli got out, he might have done that to the crowd as well. So I think that was a means of telling the young man, well done, but you know what? At this stage in career, I am the boss. Who knows tomorrow what happens in our game? We never know. But at this stage, I am the boss. Then I think Siraj came back, TK. Didn't get the new ball. Sometimes I don't know whether it's like, teacher holding your ear and pinching it as a punishment. But I thought Siraj had one of his better days today. Bit lucky with the Steve Smith wicket that the umpire actually gave it out, because maximum it was taking a little bit of paint off the bails, maximum. But yeah, 3 for 66, slightly off day for Akash Deep. I'll talk about Akash Deep as I go along, but we have to talk about Bumrah. 24 overs, 4 for 56. After Steve Smith got out, DK, I talked about the joy of being on air yesterday when Nitish Reddy was batting. To see Bumrah go after Travis Head, Mitch Marsh, Alex Carey. It was, I mean, when you see spinners spin a web and get people out, you get excited. But to see a fast bowler take wickets like that spell, amazing. He got to 200 wickets. The only bowler to get to 200 wickets with an average under 20, 19.5 at that point to get to 200 wickets. And look at the list he is with. We talk about Malcolm Marshall. In the cricket world, when people take Malcolm Marshall's name, they drop their voice a little bit. And then to be in that list. What did you make of that spell? I mean, I was actually running out of words in that spell.
No, his first spell was really good, but when he came back in that second spell, the way he got Travis Head, Mitchell Marsh is ball, Harsha. I mean, I feel bad for the man. He has this uncanny knack of somehow attracting some seriously good balls towards him.
Incredible it was, yeah.
Yeah, you can't do much as a right-hander. Really, there's not much you can do. Again, Alex Carey as well, good ball. He obviously went at it a little high, but again, a very good ball. He bowls Jaffers, Harsha. He bowls Jaffers, that's the truth. The pressure of him bowling Jaffers gets you wickets like how Head gets. Like Head got out rather. On the move while playing the flick. So many times you've seen that go to the boundary, just to the right and left of fielders. On a bad day, it goes straight to the hand. But fantabulous, isn't it? What Bumrah is doing. We should be gifted.
See, you're also starting to search for words now. That is how difficult it is.
True. I'm really running out of superlatives. I was just thinking, like what Beethoven is to music, Bumrah is to bowling. I just feel like there is so much symmetry. It's so poetic the way he goes about it. There's something very unique about him, but beyond the uniqueness, there is also mental character that comes along. When the going is tough, he comes. Towards the end of the day, he's literally bowled his heart out. He's done. He's probably running less than a reserve, but still comes back and, bowls with almost the same intensity, picks up a wicket. Unluckily, a no ball. We'll get to that. But India, Rohit Sharma, and everybody who are cricket fans are blessed to have somebody like Bumrah. And I sometimes feel people like Bumrah are celebrated so much more outside in the world, where they look at batsmen and bowlers a lot more equally.
Tell you what I love today. I think outside India, but I also started seeing in India. DK, you know very well, before the game starts, when either in your shorts or in your training gear, you just enter the field to knock. And when an MS Dhoni enters, you don't have to be looking at the ground. Dhoni has entered the ground. Or Kohli has entered the ground. I saw it with Bumrah this time. And here in Australia, Bumrah goes to field on the boundary at long leg. It's like a rock star has come there. So I think Bumrah has become a rock star now. about time. And I thought that first spell that you referred to, I'm glad you referred to that first spell. Because of that first spell, Australia were on the defensive right from the beginning. Because everyone's calculation at that point was, how many can Australia make in how much time to set India about 370, 380? Maybe they'll set India 10 overs of batting today, another 90 overs tomorrow, 100, 105 overs, get 380, 390. So what rate do they have to go there? All the calculations are going on in the mind. First 17 overs, they made 40 for 2. And I think that was the outcome of that first spell where they were survival driven. And that is where they started to eat up overs. Then once those wickets fell in between, I think Australia went into survival mode, BK, because suddenly the idea of losing a test match occurred to them.
You know, Harsha, as I'm sitting here in Chennai, I don't miss not traveling so much. I quite enjoy it, but sometimes you get FOMO. And today was a day like that. I wished I had been in Melbourne just to go through and feel what the atmosphere was like. Because having played in that ground, I know what sort of energy that ground produces when the going is like this, especially in a test match. I've been part of the Boxing Day test match. It's a very different feeling. Being there live, were you able to feel that, Harsha, where the crowd went up and down with the ebbs and flows of the game?
Slightly, because we are behind a glass wall, you don't feel it that much, but you could just see it happening. The crowd today was paltry by Melbourne standards. Only about 42,000 came to watch. But I think of the 40,000, about 25,000 must have been Indians. The remaining 15,000 were Aussie fans of Jasprit Bumrah. It's a very peculiar phenomenon here. Yesterday, Siraj normally gets booed everywhere. When Siraj was batting those 3 balls, which he had to block for Nitish's 100, the Australian crowd is cheering Siraj to block those balls because they wanted to see what is going to happen at the other end. So the boos were there today, but the whole crowd got into cheering Bumrah. And it is a fantastic atmosphere, just up and down and up and down. I met some guests for dinner yesterday who had come all the way from Mumbai. I said, you came all the way from Mumbai to watch a test match here? He said, and it's the best thing we did. So it is an incredible atmosphere. So we've almost reached 300,000 spectators in this game. Almost 300,000 spectators in this game. And guess what? Even though tomorrow is Monday, I expect a decent crowd. I was hoping at one point that India might have knocked off some of the deficit today, because 91 for 6, really, DK. On this program, we don't pick up people and criticize them, but it should have been 99 for 7. What happens to a fielder on some days? I can understand an average fielder, but this kid is a serious catcher at gully. And the catch he put down of Labuschagne at 99 could well be a turning point in this game. I mean, there are many, but this was definite turning point.
True, Harsha. He didn't have his best day on the field. He is a very good fielder. In fact, through the home series, we actually felt that he is slowly becoming the next Ajinkya Rahane in terms of how safe he is and what sort of catches he's able to pick up, because it's very consistent in terms of how he's taken catches at gully. And generally, catching at gully is very hard, because when you stand at first slip, to a certain extent, second slip, you can always watch the edge of the bat. You can always watch the trajectory of the ball all the way through. But with gully, because the whole angle changes, you can't so much watch the ball because your head tends to shake a lot. You need to be able to watch the outside edge. But this catch that he dropped, there was time. The beauty about fielding in Australia compared to India, in India, when it comes hard and low. In Australia, it always has that extra time and it carries to you nicely. And that's what that catch was. Off the back foot, deflected, nice and easy at a very good place for a slip fielder to allow it to come to him. Everything was right, apart from the fact that he dropped the catch. He dropped one at leg gully as well, slightly tough one, but the one at silly point. And there's been these reels that's doing the rounds, and they're trying to show about how Rohit is funny and how he wants fielders to, be on their toes or whatever, where he gets up early and he's like, are you playing gully cricket? Stay lower. And he's giving this sort of advice. But it held true to that catch that went today. Nathan Lyon defended one straight under his hand. So he's not had his best day. And fielding is one such thing. When you're having a bad day, the ball chases. If he's in that zone where he doesn't want the ball come to him, inadvertently, it will keep coming to you, and that pressure just gets onto you very, very quickly. I've had those kind of moments where as a keeper, I've dropped one and I'm like, no, after this, I just hope it doesn't come. And one after another, it keeps coming and your hands get stiff and hard. And you're literally having nightmares thinking, okay, this is going to come like this. If I drop like this, the game will go this way. And I'm sure he's gone through that a little bit. I'm hoping his bat will help India deal with the, with the so-called catches that he's dropped. But yes, it was a very pivotal and turning point in many ways for this test and how this result could have panned out.
But thereafter, Australia started clawing the game back. If you watched Australian cricket through its glory years, you'll see they held the game by the neck and dragged it their way. Here it was not like that. They were chipping. And then see that partnership between Labuschagne and Cummins, 57. I thought even when it came as close as 156 for 8, when the Starc run out happened, I still thought India were ahead in the game. But the Labuschagne-Cummins partnership and then finally the Lyon-Boland partnership, I don't know if we can draw a correlation, but I think India needed another wicket-taking bowler at the other end. I thought Akash Deep should have been that bowler. And, he's a very interesting bowler, TK, because I went and sat with the Cricbuzz guys and looked at the numbers. Akash Deep is bowling on an average 7.3, 7.4 meter length. And a lot of wickets for those kind of bowlers apparently come from around the 6.9 meter length. Though in this match, because you have the Cummins kind of bowlers who dig it in short, there have been some wickets there as well. Is the fact he's now bowled, he's got some 5 wickets or 6 wickets in this series at average of well over 50. Is he not getting wickets because he's bowling half meter short? Is it because he's unlucky? I mean, that Labuschagne catch 10 times out of 10, somebody will catch. What is it about him? Because if Akash Deep is coming back strongly, then Bumrah doesn't have to keep coming back all the time. You could have had a fresher Bumrah coming back. And I think this game would have been different if he had the support from Akash Deep today.
Yes, I'll answer the stat that you just put out in terms of 6.9 and 7.5. Now, the 6.9 for the average Australian bowler who have been here and in that ground, you have to first understand their release point. A lot of the Australian bowlers or foreign bowlers who come are definitely taller than Akash Deep. So when they're releasing a ball from that height, the amount of bounce that they will generate from 6.9 to 7 meters will be the same that an Akash Deep can only generate from a 7.5 meter. That's why his length is slightly shorter. Add to the fact that he is a hit-the-deck bowler, Harsha. He doesn't release the ball. For people who don't release the ball, their natural tendency is to go a little short. You need to change your wrist position from about here to about here to be able to release the ball and get that backspin on the ball. But Akash Deep's strength is to get movement from that. But that length has been his friend in India in domestic cricket, because in India, they kind of struggle when there's a little bit more extra bounce. But whereas in international cricket, the players are a lot more used to playing that length. That's why the slightly fuller length at pace troubles the good batters. Now, this is something he has to learn. Not to get the same bounce, but to be able to land it that 0.5 meters fuller and get to around the 7 meter mark for him to get that movement, which will mean the batter will just not stay here, but just go at it a little bit and get that edge. That is the difference for him to get both edges into play. Now, whatever he is doing, the batter has that slight extra second, and this is very little, but when you play and you go through the process of playing a Pat Cummins to an Akash Deep, you will understand the difference in terms of how your shot making is. And that has been Akash Deep's strength and weakness this tour. When he's got wickets, he's both slightly fuller and got that seam movement. On pitches which have not had the seam movement, he has struggled with that length. That's why at times he has looked tepid. And it's the same case with Siraj, but today he was slightly fuller, used the short ball well as well, and that created the doubts for the batters. Whereas in Akash Deep's case, it is slightly easier to play the short ball because of the way he releases the ball, and his length needs to be spot on with his seam position, which didn't come through as well today. On days that he bowls well, his wrist is definitely much stronger and behind the ball, and hence gets that movement off it. Today, he didn't get as much and hence was not as effective. And in answer to your question, and hence Bumrah was literally doing the bulk of the heavy lifting, which,
I'll tell you honestly, okay. I thought Bumrah was like one of these new EVs that are coming into the market. You can drive them for a little while, then you find a charging point and you put it in there, You leave it as much as you can charge it. If it's 50-60%, that's enough. You bring it back, drive a few kilometers, go and charge it back. And I think Bumrah was constantly with that little charger on his back, just putting the getting charged up all the time. I think that is a reason why the tail tends to wag against India. Because if your lead bowler is running out of steam and is not getting that kind of support, then somebody else has to come and wrap up the tail. And I think it might just be today. I mean, yes, even in the first innings in Melbourne, 246 for 5, they put on 228. Second innings, 85 for 5, they've now come to 228. So that I think could be a big factor in this game, and that could be a difference between the two sides. After the new ball, Pat Cummins comes in bowls, or Scott Boland comes in and bowls. In those conditions, they are perfect. I mean, if you come to India, even a Jayant Yadav kind of bowler can come in and give you wickets, as he did so well in that 2016, 17, 18 phase. So maybe that is the reason why the tail is wagging a little bit. I mean, towards the end, DK, you started feeling for Bumrah.
True.
He was 53 overs, 54 overs in this game.
Yeah. He's got to be kept in an ice box, that's for sure, Harsha, because his body would have gone through a lot. He needs to recover and again come back in Sydney, which could, don't know where the test series is going to go. But for the moment, it looks like Australia does have the upper hand. And if India want to come back, we all know who's the man behind it. But, through that spell also, Harsha, we speak about Akash Deep and you have spoken about it. Akash Deep, yes, he didn't have his best day, but he's also been a tad bit unlucky, Harsha, in the series so far. I think he's bowled some great balls, great lengths, has been unlucky. Sometimes the wicket is so important. An example that I can think of is Pankaj Singh. Had Alistair Cook and the catch wasn't taken, and after that he was a completely different bowler, and his career itself in a way just waned away. But I thought that luck was with Labuschagne, Harsha, in that partnership through the start of the innings. He's actually used his luck. I mean, I don't know whether you can how to describe or say how luck can be used, but Labuschagne rode through his luck. He was there for long periods. Yes, that Cummins partnership.
You're actually making a very valid point, DK. I mean, today, Labuschagne has made 70. He rode his luck, played, missed everything. There was one ball, hit the bat and just bounced over the stumps and went away. So that innings of 70 was built around skill. There's no doubt. Nobody gets to 70 without skill. But there was a lot of luck. Now, interestingly, Labuschagne's career can be broken up into two phases. In the first phase of his career, he was averaging 57, 58, might even have touched 60. The number of catches that were put down, the number of false shots that did not translate into wickets was at a huge high. Then he went through a phase where suddenly everything was being caught, the edges he was playing on, the edges were carrying, and his average dropped. So there's actually this theory going around, which might be unfair to him, that his career waxes and wanes depending on his luck percentage. I mean, how you measure luck percentage is different, but you see how many catches have gone off you, how many false shots you're playing per dismissal. These are like surrogate variables. He rode his luck, and you've got to give credit to him for that. Everyone gets their share of luck. He rode his luck. He got his runs. Then Lyon and Boland got those crucial runs. And so where we are now, let's put DK in the hot spot. 328 was the target at the Gabba. It was done. Doesn't mean if it's done once, it'll be done again, but it was done. If the Gabba has to be recreated at the MCG, who are the key players? First of all, do you think it is possible, and who are the key players?
There are two answers to this question. One, I'll answer like an Indian fan, and I feel if India wants to go past the winning line, it has to be Rishabh Pant and Virat Kohli. These are two players who are very, very critical. Now, the expert hat, one that tries to think as rationally as possible. I don't think it's going to be possible because it's too steep. The pitch is slightly doing enough for the bowlers where they're going to extract some seam movement. And as days 4 and 5, we've always seen Lyon how effective he is. I think a great result for India would be if they could really fight hard to save this test match, which could come down to how well they play the last hour. It could be a very, very titillating hour, but I feel India has it in them to somehow secure a draw.
Wait and see, because tomorrow is the last day. Last day meaning there is this concept of the last hour that starts after 81 overs have been bowled. So 96 overs tomorrow. So it's not that, I mean, a day like today, I think we probably bowled about 88, 89 overs, lost 7, 8 overs today. Tomorrow you have to bowl the entire 96 overs. It's light, it stays light till long time. Temperature forecast is 25 degrees with zero chance of rain, which means it's going to be bat versus ball. Highest fourth inning score achieved at the MCG is 332. On that note, let's go fast forward. Okay, first of all, this last wicket partnership is not over yet. I mean, there'll be a fresh Bumrah, a fresh Shami, I still think about, let's say Bumrah and I think Shami, a fresh Bumrah and a fresh Siraj coming in tomorrow. It's interesting. Do they want this partnership to consume overs? They want to knock it over quickly. That will tell you about the mindset, right?
Yeah, I don't
don't
think
mind them consuming overs.
I don't think so. I think they'll be looking to play some shots and they'll take whatever comes their way. But I think they'll be looking to have a good crack at India. A bare minimum of 90 overs they'll require. They know it. India's tail wags as well. But a lot depends on the senior pros, how long they can bat. They need a huge partnership, the huge one, for them to put the fear of losing into Australia, which I thought was there for some moments through today as well for Australia. Australia found a way to come back as they always do, which was good. But India have a chance again to do it. One partnership, and they'll again feel, because you have to understand, we saw how Starc felt towards the end of his spell yesterday when he was bowling. He was a tad bit tired, and so are the other bowlers who have bowled, and they've just had 24 hours left. They're going to come back in. It's not as easy. So if we get one partnership, then the tired legs will start to slowly feel a lot more tired than what it actually is, and the mind will start playing tricks. So they'll need the big guns to go, and then that's where India make a play.
You said Rishabh Pant, Virat Kohli. You're talking number 4, number 5. My gut feel is if you're chasing 330, you cannot be 40 for 2. So your opening pair has to blunt the first 1 or 2 spells of the opposition new ball.
Correct.
So I think you need a 75-80 opening partnership to set it up. And I think there is one player under enormous pressure, and I'll be watching him very, very closely tomorrow, and that is Rohit Sharma. There is a school of thought that he might be playing for his place tomorrow. We'll talk about that after the game tomorrow. But if he can get that partnership going, if they can face off that new ball, then they make it easier for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because you're talking all the way up to 8. So my feeling is need a really good opening partnership. You have to play 96 overs, but if the opening partnership plays 25-30 overs, I think it'll make a big difference to the game. So we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed. It's been a fabulous test match. I think my instinct tells me there are 1 or 2 twists still in this. We'll wait and see. We'll join you. We'll join you tomorrow. And let's see what the future holds. Full 5-day test match after a long time.